Welcome back, everybody. Your host, Robert Taylor from Wonderscape Studios, on to continue with the interaction system tutorial. So, where we left off, we come over here, we can see how we have it. When we get to something we can interact with, it'll pop up the message telling you what button to push and what it'll do and what the object is. And when you go away, it does that. I should have changed it back real quick, but I'm going to do that here. There we go. And now we're going to create some unique functionality so that you can determine per instance. That way you have this tool with you and you can move it from project to project. And all you'll have to do is make a selection and it will determine for you. It'll do all the math for you on how it does the trace. So to do that, the first thing we need to make is what is called an enumeration. They are quite powerful tools. What they do, in essence, is it provides us with a word, but the computer only sees a number. So first we're going to right click here. I believe they're under blueprint, and they're right here. But remember, if you can't remember where it's from and you just right click and start typing what it's called, it'll bring it to you. Enumeration. So this first one we will name E underscore gameplay. And hit enter. Now then I'm going to double click on this and add enumerator, add enumerator. So effectively the computer is going to see 0 and 1. But what we are going to see is first, third person, and top down, well, yeah, down 2.5. That's what we're going to see. We're going to save it. We're going to come back in here into interactable components. Now, to add this, we're going to come over here to variables, and I'm going to name this one gameplay type. Now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to type E gameplay, and there it is right down here. Now, this one is not going to be private. We want it to be seen for every single one, but we don't need to expose it. We'll come over here to category and interaction settings. Compile and save. Now let's open, get this good and close. That way it's easier to see. And I'm going to put this all the way over here. And we need a lot of space. So let's come over here. First thing we're going to do is grab this gameplay type, hit down control, or don't hit down control and then select get. First thing we want to make is a select node. So from here, hit select. This is essentially like a bool. So whatever we choose is what the code is what determines what code is ran. So from here, I'm sorry, I'm going to, drag this stuff back. Silly me. I'm going to drag it back to here. And this will go right here. And right there. Now, for the first person and third person, what we need is what we already had right here. So we place that right there in here. And that part's done. However, to get this, we need to do something a little different. Sorry, I don't like to have a lot of string where I don't have to, so we'll do this. We'll get to that in a moment. So this right here, like I said, is done. However, excuse me, for For this, for top down, it's a little different. We can't start from the camera because then it's going to be looking down at the ground, so you're only able to interact with what's at the feet of the player, and you may not want that. So for this, we're going to right click, get owner, and we will drag out, get actor location, and we could set it right here if we wanted to, but we might not want to. And I like to have this functionality control because then it's easier for the 2.5 view. We will then drag out and type break vector. And then we're going to drag out of the X and do make vector. Let's get this stuff further out. Put this down here. And then make Y. And then out of here, we're going to hit a plus sign to add. Place that in here. Right click, promotes variable. And we're going to name this variable interaction start Z location. That way you can determine the height location if you really want to. Otherwise, it's going to do it from the feet of the player. It'll start from the feet. I have this based down at 80. This obviously goes into the interaction settings. Then I place that right here. Now you don't have to have this part. It's really not necessary to have this part of it. I just like having the edge case possibilities controlled. And we have that section set up. Now we need to do the selection for this part because this will change as well. So again from here, select, and then this goes right here into that. We are magical. Sorry, doing a little bit of cleanup as I'm going. Here we go. Now then this one simply goes into first, third person, and we're set. And then for this one, we need get owner, get actor location. Place that in here, and we're set. Now compile and save. And this functionality, this whole thing is done. We now have a working interaction system that is beautiful. Granted, there's some mess right here, and I'll clean that up on my own time, just like I know you will. So the reason why this is important, now if we come over here, and if I just select right here on this one, come over here, and I will have, maybe it doesn't show up right here. No, it doesn't. Silly me. Click on interaction component and interaction settings. So now we can change where it starts at, how the interaction, how the line trace works, where it starts from, where it ends to. I'm going to keep it at first and third. Compile and save. Now the final thing we need to do is we need to have a sphere trace. The reason why I do this is when you're playing third person, it's a little harder sometimes to target what you're trying to pick up. Having a sphere trace takes care of that. So what we're going to do here is right click, duplicate, and I'm going to name this one sphere trace. Now I'm going to scroll in over here. There's only one node that changes, and you guessed it, this one. So out of here, I'm going to type sphere trace by channel. Not multi, just sphere. Now I've made a little bit of a mess, and that's fine. Come over here, click that into there. Out hit goes into out hit. Return values goes into return values. Start to start. End to end. Actors to actors. Change this to interact. And now you'll see that everything is disconnected from here. Close that. Bring this down. And your sphere trace is done. And now we need to add another enumerator. So right click, enumeration, and I named this one trace. Yeah, trace type. Open it up, and you guessed it, add two. Name this one line trace, and this one sphere trace. Save it, close it. You can close this one, we don't need it anymore. We'll need that in a second. Come back into here, go to the event graph, and here on event tick is where we're going to do what we're about to do. So we need to add another component, and we're going to name this one trace type. Come over here, trace type, right there. Again, we want this one in interaction settings. Come over here, control to get it. Oh, no, not a select node. Silly muggle. We need a switch node. Come over here, do a switch. And then for line trace, we put that right there. For sphere trace, we put that right there. And that is everything for this. So, because it's in third person, I want it to default, let me compile so I can. I want it to default to sphere trace. When we transfer from third to first person, it will change to line trace, because line trace is cheaper than sphere trace, but sphere trace is still cheaper than any other option when you're making an interactable system. So the entirety of the interaction system is working as is. Now I'm going to help you add more functionality. So this time around, let's see, we're at 12 minutes. We will go ahead and what do we have time to do? What we have time to do, there really isn't much time to do. So we're going to mess around a little bit with our test object. So if you're done being curious, you can go ahead and hop out. Otherwise, I'm going to quickly set this up to make everything dynamic. So we need two of these here. So name this action. I'm going to make this of type text. We're going to make this instance editable. Do another one of type text called name. Also make this instance editable. We're going to place action into action and name into name. Compile and save. We want this, that way we know. We're going to do none and none. Compile and save. Now when we come here to this, we now have action and name. Currently none and none. So look at cube. Do this one. Lift cube. And then we're going to come over here in the event graph. And what we will do now is come over here to pick up. No, not pick up, sorry. Interact with. There we go. And all we're going to do is we're going to come over here, drag out, set world location. Before we do that though, copy, place, get world location, promote to variable, so it's set world location, place that in here, clean that up a bit, then we're going to come over here, make sure we hit compile, and then we will get this, hit the plus sign, and I'm just going to put this to 20, place that in here, and then at stop interacting. Oops, I don't need to hold down control when I do that. Why is it not? There we go. I had to double click on it. Silly me. Mouse over this, control, copy, paste, do that, place that in here. Compile, save. Now, obviously, no matter what, both of them will work in that function. But if we come over here, press E to look at the cube, press E to lift the cube. We press E. How dare you? Why are you not wanting to work? Let me look at my notes real quick, because that should have worked. It chose not to. Double click here. Set world location. Interact with, interact with. Interesting. That should have worked. Even according to my notes, it should have worked. But it chose not to. Let's compile and save again. Let's see if it'll work with this one. It is quite weird that it's not wanting to work. It should be working, but it is not. Alright, looks like we're going to do some troubleshooting here just to see what the heck is going on. Oh, I have two event graphs. Why? Let's close one of those up. That was weird. So we know that it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to. Let's come over here. Project settings. It is actually E. So it should be doing it. Let's instead just destroy actor. See if that'll work. Interesting. Now I'm over here wanting to see if checking my project, because you've seen it. It works. It does what it's supposed to. But for some reason, this one is not wanting to. So let's come over here to the interaction component, because something is wrong in the sphere trace. Oh, wait a second. Yep, the radius is 0. Oh my goodness. That is hilarious. What do I have my sphere trace? I have it set to... Oh, I have it set in a... So come over here, promote to variable. I'm so sorry. We will do interact radius. Obviously we want this in the interaction settings. Compile and save. I have this set to 10. There we go. Now it's going to work. Now if I hit play, it's just going to destroy it. should be. Oh my goodness. File save. Let me come over here to this right here. Sphere trace. Interact radius. We need to see what's going on. So we're going to, or duration. So it's green, it's doing its thing. So it's hitting, it's just not wanting to listen. So we know that that's working. That should have been what would solve the problem, but it's not. So let me double check my notes here with this. Okay, we have this set to look at. Hide message, set. Function look at, and show message. Let's see here. I'm going to create an actor. Let's see if just something weird happened. BP underscore delete. Not sure why it's not working, but I'm going to come over here to class settings. BPI interaction. Going to add a cube again. We'll remove the cube so we know it's different. We'll remove the material. Come over here, custom, interact, compile, save. Come over here to the event graph, interface, interact with, destroy actor, compile, save. Now I put this in here, hit play, come on over here. Yeah, it's not wanting to destroy. I'm not sure why. All right, I'm gonna end this here. I'm gonna find out what the problem was and do a quick video right after with this one that will show the fix. Thanks for watching. Bye.